Okay, good morning, everybody. As you can see, we are born geniuses, but we are trained to be idiots. Albert Einstein, or at least that's attributed to him. Good morning, Kevin Schulthies. We are on the second part of Freedom Matters. The first one was an overview of what Freedom Matters is. That's by Oliver deMille. And in this real quick overview, we're going to go through Chapter 1, Freedom and Leadership, and some of the main important topics on that is uh, basically freedom is super important, right? And this is a good kind of intro that I'll read here, that liberty is the ability to make decisions that improve our life. Freedom is the society environment that everyone um, is allowed to make the decisions that improve their lives, and that it allows all men and women to have liberty. So freedom is definitely important. Freedom has definitely been rare in the history of humankind, and most often most people have not had a lot of freedom. Uh, and there's other great books he's written about that. I haven't got to them all, but probably Freedom Shift is probably one of the main ones on history throughout the world history. So you want to look up Freedom Shift by Oliver deMille. But the most common ways to lose freedom is to have a simple force, whether a director, a king, a tyrant, some kind of over pressing power uh, that that limits people's freedom. Or the other way is using economic and social classes to be able to stratify and put people into layers, and a few select people control that system of money and power, and it limits everybody else's freedom to do that. The masses under their control. And yeah, so, and even the countries that we say are free, it's a progression of how much freedom, and we can't even deny in my own country of Canada, same with the United States, maybe Britain, um, and a few countries around the world. You could say we have freedom right now to a different degree, but the point is, we've had less freedoms than our generations that come before us. We're actually losing the freedom. So in our generation, it's our fault um, if we don't do our part to fight for freedom and to stop the erosion, and if anything, try to shore things back up for the next generation, and to train up good men and women to do the same as well. Because there's a quote that every generation has to fight for freedom, or else you'll lose it. Um, so just because we're not in an all-out war, we are in a war of ideologies. We're in the information age, where uh, prevailing ideas and stuff can rule the day with bullying tactics and stuff like that, or we learn things in media. Whatever our media is pounding into our heads must be our prevailing idea, and that's not necessarily true. We've got to become all independent thinkers. We've got to wake up to our history. We've got to wake up to our current reality. We've got to wake up to and educate ourselves on what is the future course, and what the future course could be. So that's it's not all doom and gloom in Oliver's books. He always talks about what needs to be done and how we can do it. And one of the quotes that I wrote here, that most people know that leadership is key, uh, and it's key to fix the things of the lack of freedom. So most people know that it's leadership. They know that. The problem comes when they think it needs to be a political leader. And this chapter goes into the fact of setting it up that there are 7 leaders, and they all need to balance each other. and political leader is actually 1/7 of the equation, and even that 1/7 is actually weighted less. So it's less important than being a business leader or a spiritual leader or a media leader or a leader in your family. Basically, it says we are the problem, and but we're also the solution. And it says the good news is that the problem is relatively easy to solve. Find out which of the 6 kinds of leaderships, or 7 if you include politics, is your life purpose. Once you know this, excel at your life mission, and this creates the leadership that we need. So it's not be a leader, a keynote speaker, a world changer, and do it from a public stage. It's actually be an amazing leader in any of these other areas and excel at that, and we need that. And the main questions are, what kind of leader are you, and how can you be a better leader and lead at a higher level? I have a interesting quote that I'm kind of formulating, is, and I've thought of it for years, is there's that question, what kind of leader are you? And if you don't, and the quote is basically, if you don't think you're a leader, that just means that you're probably a pretty crappy one and mediocre at best, because you are a leader. So just think about that for a moment. If you don't think you're a leader, then you're a crappy leader and mediocre at best, because you do lead. So you're leading. I used to lead people into mediocrity all the time because I was mediocre. I was lukewarm. I didn't excel. I didn't strive. I didn't read up. I didn't train myself up, equip up. I didn't go charge the hill. I did none of those things. And I was in a group of men and groups of people that none of us stood out because we were all mediocre, and we just all sat in the same cooling pot, the same mixing pot, and we became mediocre and went through life together, and no longer. So we need to take a stand. The future is up to you, and it's clear that we need to determine which of the 7 kinds of leaderships you should excel in. Second, do it, and then give your heart and soul to it, and make it your life focus and purpose. So that is Freedom and Leadership chapter. The next chapter we'll get into the 7 kinds of leaderships, and the real kind of meat potatoes of this, and the reason why balance and the checks that implies on each other, which is really cool, because whenever you, even though there's 7 kind of types of leaders, anytime that you get an unbalance, you get 2 or 3 of the leadership types run the country, that's not a good thing. They all kind of need to keep everybody in balance and checked. And we need good media people to keep our business people and our politics in check. We need good spiritual leaders to run a moral life in government and business and things like that. So those are just some quick examples. But anyways, Freedom Matters, Oliver deMille, chapter 1. And thank you for joining us in this series, going through Freedom Matters. Great book. So the book review is basically how good it is, and we're going to go through how good it is and teach you that you need to go through it yourself. It's a life-changing book, and we'll go from there. Okay, well, thanks very much, and we will see you in part 2. And again, Kevin signing off, life coach in training. Now, how about you?